Well, those of you who follow my channel know that I've burned up my original stock version of my Lotus T-580 Quadcopter's electronic speed controller twice. You know, if you don't have one of these quads, this video won't mean much to you, but you may enjoy watching it anyway, because especially the fan will work on all internal electronic speed controllers and components. Now you see, this machine's no toy. It cost me over $500 plus the camera mount, a radio receiver, and over $50 worth of lights. And you know, it's no throwaway machine to me either. I don't buy brand new stuff every time I break something just to look good on YouTube. I'm happy my reputation's not store-bought. So that said, I gotta tell you, I love the way the machine flies. I've incorporated it into all my flying demonstrations that I'm asked to do. The problem is that I've lost faith in the ESC to use it for those demos, not only because of the cost of crashing the expensive machine due to the weak ESC, not pilot error, but the safety issues. I'd never fly it over anybody, because the only thing the quad will do when it loses a motor is tumble straight down. They don't actually fly anywhere, and that's the good part. Well, second time around, I replaced it with the version 2. That's what NightFlyyer sent me. And I noticed it had heatsink plates attached to the boards. It looked really good, and I felt way more confident by putting it in. Well, that was short-lived, because I flew it only a few times, and then at this year's RC Fly-In at our NightFlyyer, I had simply flown over the fire, as you see, and that tiny extra amount of heat was just enough to overheat something, and it crashed and burned right there. So again, I got another speed controller from NightFlyers, and this time I decided I was going to make my own mods and make this unit really dependable as I could without water cooling. And having worked in electronics all my life on Phantom jets, CH-53 helicopters, and I even built my own Heath Zenith 25-inch color TV, I know heat is the worst thing for electronics. So using what I learned, here's what I did to get as much cooling to the ESC and really improve reliability. You know, just the first time that I heard from a quad owner that it was going to burn, I added some cooling holes in a tube to heat sink without taking it apart and looking at it. Well, when that burned, I found there were actually 2 ESCs on the top and 2 on the bottom. I did not heat sink the bottom one. I didn't really know it was there. Then when the version 2 burned up in the NightFlyyer, I began the post-inspection, only to find the cooling plates were simply siliconed on with a rubber compound instead of a heat transfer compound. Well, in today's world, the heatsink compound usually is used mostly on CPU cooling fans or fins. And it appears none of that was used on this machine, thus there doesn't seem to be any good heat transfer to those plates happening at all. These are version 2s that are supposed to be better, but they're flawed. See this piece of silicone rubber they have in between the heat sink and the transistors? This doesn't conduct heat. Are you kidding me? It burnt. Look at that. So here's what we're going to do. Well, first I began by adding a small cooling fan. This I purchased from Radio Shack. Okay, this looks like a perfect place. Make sure your fan's blowing this way. There's arrow on the top here. Also, the other arrow shows that it rotates counterclockwise. I'm going to glue this right in here, hot glue it with the wire on the top. So, see how this goes. Okay, now we'll just hook these wires up to the power supply, and I'm going to put the heat sinks on there. And that air is going to blow that way. I removed the 2 version 2's ESC plates and used the best heat transfer compound you can buy. It's called Arctic Silver. I purchased it at newegg.com. Well, then I decided I'd put 2 plates on instead of 1, since I had the extras from the other original burned up ESC. And then I added a copper tube heatsink to the top and used that as air ducts to also unite them and tack them on with the Arctic Silver heat transfer compound here on all of it. And I'll show you how that works. Here we go. Everything is sandwiched together with the Arctic Silver heat transfer compound. dab it straight up. Okay, after you feel confident that you've got it all on, just go ahead and I'm gonna put this on there just like that. That's making good contact. And then I'm gonna put a dab of amazing goop right there, right there, right there, right there. This I'm putting on here for my air tube. Okay, next, got it all done. I'm going to go ahead and fold this up, but I'm not going to fold it up any further than that. I'm going to leave air space in here for this whole thing, and we're going to mount this. So now it's open, it's going to have plenty of airflow, and to keep it from closing up and maybe having some interference or anything back here, you want to make sure this isn't going to touch. I've just simply gooped these two capacitors together right here, and this thing is solid. It's not going anywhere. Okay, everything's in place. Fans here. It's going to blow onto this whole unit and into the tubes. Cooling double. Okay, the last mod I'm doing is I'm going to open this thing up so it gets more air, and I made these standoffs out of neoprene, and that way when I mount the body, it's got plenty of air under there and it has plenty of clearance. Go ahead and bolt it on now. Good. Fan's running good. Nice. Alright, before we start, let's check the temperature. The ambient temperature is 81.5. Alright, let's run it. You know, some of you have suggested that I simply put in 4 60 amp ESCs. Well, that'd be more money, and I don't think I should have to actually spend. And do the setup of the altimeter and the gyro mixer setup, I'd be pretty impossible, and there's not enough room inside. Hey, that's one way to blow the leaves. Well, I'll keep you posted on the speed controller and let you know if it burns up. I have good confidence in it now because I've run 8 full batteries through it continuously with no overheating whatsoever. I did notice the motors are running about 189 degrees, so it's a good idea probably to always let it cool down before and between flights. If you made it this far in a video, thank you so much. You'll get the nostalgia look of my first simulator. It was the first RC simulator to ever come on the market. It was by David Stern and called Aero Chopper. I love that song. Yes.